Welcome, manifestors and creators. My name is Bonnie Sachs, and I am the award-winning author of the Health and Happiness Guide to the Universal Laws. And I'm here this morning to give you a little bit of information about manifesting. It feels like everybody wants to know how to manifest, and it turns out that it's a whole lot easier than we actually have ever thought it was. And I'd like to take 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, to explain a couple principles for you that'll make it so much easier for you to understand how simple it is to start manifesting and creating what you really want. So here's the first piece. The first piece is to know that we, all of us, are manifesting and creating all of the time. We are actually master manifestors and creators. That is actually what we came here on the planet in this incarnation to do, is to be able to create and to understand that we are constantly creating every moment of the day in our words, in our actions, in our thoughts. And once we really understand that piece of information, then we can start moving into paying attention to what we're saying, what we're doing, and how we're doing it. So our thoughts are energy, plain and simple. And I don't know about you, but I used to think that energy was just the thing that I studied when I was in physics. When I was in high school, I studied energy and physics and how to calculate it and that aspect of it. And no one ever taught me that the words that I speak, as I'm actually speaking words, that I am creating, and that is actually energy. And so when we understand that everything is energy, that our thoughts are energy, that our words are energy, that our emotions are energy, I can actually sit here and move my hands and create energy. And anybody can do that. Anybody can do that in a lot of different ways. And so that's the very first piece, is to understanding that we are all manifesting all of the time. And to understand that energy is behind it all. So if we are constantly manifesting, if we are constantly creating, then we want to watch the things that we say. And if we could see energy, we could actually watch the things that we say. So I can see energy, and when I say the words, "I love you," the energy is just absolutely beautiful. It's a pink quartz, and it's absolutely beautiful as it comes out my mouth. And if I were to use a curse word, if I were to use, and I don't mean a curse word like to cuss, I mean a curse word like I wanted to really create a curse, that could look kind of ugly. I don't want to create that stuff, so I'm certainly not going to say it. But that is a great point for all of us to understand, that when we speak, we are actually putting information out into the quantum field, which is the next piece that I want to talk about. This space that is out here, kind of like air, is called the quantum field. And the quantum field is constantly paying attention to what you are putting out there. And that quantum field is catching every single thought, every single word, every single thing you say. It is catching and doing something with that information. Now, we also have an internal quantum field, and we want to make sure that everything that is happening in our internal quantum field is being paid attention to as well. And so it's not like I want you to suddenly put your guard up and be like, "Oh my God, what am I saying? How am I saying it? What am I doing? How am I doing it?" We do not want to move into that space of, because what is that space? That space is fear. That space is, "Oh my gosh, I'm making a mistake." There might be some judgment in there. There might be some anger in there. And I'm not suggesting that we create that kind of low frequency. In fact, I always want to create high frequencies. I want to create gratitude and love and joy and fun and laughter and all of those kinds of frequencies. And when we step into more of those frequencies, when we speak more of those frequencies, suddenly more things are happening, more things are popping for us, and we're able to step into creating more of what we want. So I remember the days when I didn't understand anything about the law of attraction. And then 2 years ago, I wrote the book, The Health and Happiness Guide to the Universal Laws. And I actually examined the law of attraction and the law of manifestation. And I was just like, this is really interesting that these laws exist. And for some reason, I just thought, I needed to put a picture on my refrigerator, or I needed to put up a dream board, or I needed to write on my mirrors in my bathroom about the things that I wanted. And now what I understand is that that's not what manifesting and creating is. Manifesting and creating is actually moving out more of the low frequencies and bringing in more of the higher frequencies. And as we raise our frequency, as we connect more with our own information, manifesting becomes really easy. That car that I might have put up on my refrigerator, or that vacation that I might have put up on my refrigerator, 5 years ago, as I learned to move out the low frequencies. When I say low frequencies, I'm talking about fear, pain, anger, unconsciousness, worry, frustration, all of those kinds of emotions, those things that just don't feel good. When we can move more of those out, we can then bring in higher frequencies. We can bring in more love, more joy, more gratitude. It might sound like a little bit of a silly thing, but when we can be grateful for that really awful thing that happened in our life, when we can be grateful for a divorce or a sickness or a death, when we can find something in it, and I don't mean be grateful like, oh, thank God. I mean like, you know what? It really changed my life. I really learned something from that process. And I can see the benefits of what I went through. So if we were talking about a marriage, I can see the love that we had for each other. And I can also see the lessons, the teachings that I needed to get out of that relationship. And now I'm free to move forward and to let that go. I've now cleared the karma and the agreements with that person. I can let that relationship go, and I can know that it was the best thing for me at the time, and I can move on to the next thing. When we can bring that kind of feeling and emotion into whatever experience we're having, we've suddenly shifted our own thinking and raised our frequency. The more our frequency goes up, the more things start to happen. The easier it is for you to create, the easier it is for you to put those things out into the quantum field that you really want. I used to struggle with this conscious versus unconscious piece. I was always having this issue like, well, I can control my conscious thoughts, but what do I do about the things I'm thinking when I don't know that I'm thinking them? Here's some conscious and some unconscious thoughts that we catch ourselves when we do them. And when we don't catch ourselves, we forgive ourselves. It's totally okay. We can't possibly expect perfection in the first 5 minutes. We can't even expect perfection in the first 5 days, 5 months, maybe even 5 years. Although I think 5 years is definitely we can catch it by then. So when you find yourself saying something like, why does this always happen to me? Now, we can certainly say it, why does this always happen to me? But we very rarely say it like that. We very rarely say it like we're talking about something really positive. We're usually saying it about something that is negative, something that hasn't worked out for us. And so when we can start to see that everything really happens in divine timing, suddenly we can have a different perspective on what we're creating. Oh, this isn't happening to me. This, I'm not a victim. This is something that I created for me to understand, whatever it happens to be. And suddenly when we have that shift, that it's not happening to me, but maybe that it's happening for me, maybe that this is a great opportunity for me to move out more low frequencies. This is an opportunity for me to understand that I still have some sadness or some anger or some frustration around this particular topic. When we can see that, suddenly we can shift it. What you can see is what you can shift. Maybe you're somebody who says every time, blah, 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 blah. Or you're the person who says, the world is whatever. And you're certainly not saying the world is so fantastic and full of love. Here's a tip for you. I love this. Notice how you use the verb to be. To be, like I am, she is, he is, we is. No, I'm just kidding. We are. Notice those, how you speak those into existence. If you find yourself saying, I am such a klutz, catch yourself and say, no, I'm not. That is not the truth of me. You can catch yourself saying that and stop it. If you find yourself saying, we are always, catch yourself. You don't need to keep that up. You don't need to continue to create that. Remember, every thought that comes into your awareness, every thought that doesn't come into your awareness is creating your reality. Always creating. If you are constantly putting out love, 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 that's what your world is. It is filled with loving relationships and work that is joyful and, things that are absolutely fun to do. But if you are sitting around saying, if only, or, what if I could do this, or how is this going to happen? When you start saying those kinds of phrases, you are absolutely putting out some muck. You're putting the muck out there, and when you put muck out there, you have to go and clean it up. And if you don't see the energy behind that, if you don't see that you have mucked up your space, how are you going to clean it up? Starts with awareness, starts with understanding the words we speak. So I hope that helps just a little bit. I definitely want to constantly put love out there and put joy out there and put fun and compassion and gratitude. I am always in so much gratitude for every single person who watches a video of mine, every single person who ends up saying to me, you once said, and it was just a little sentence that I said, and I don't even remember that I said it, but that it made a difference. I hope I've made a difference for you today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.